The BRICS National Security Advisors meeting has discussed the expansion of this group. Countries such as Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt and Algeria have shown interest in being part of the bloc. Now, the meeting also discussed peace and security. Let's get a clear picture now from SABC News International editor, Sophie Mokoena. Thank you so much for your time, Sophie. Clearly, the expansion, this issue is something that is of serious importance. What are we hearing in that regard?
It's quite important for the BRICS members to finalize this matter, because the expansion will lead to a bigger family where you are able to challenge global issues. But I spoke to the minister in the presidency who was chairing the meeting, and this is what she had to say. Let's take at what she had to say about the expansion of this important organization.
The issue of the expansion of BRICS, that there is some consensus on the expansion of BRICS, and that is going to, the decision is going to be taken when South Africa is
the expansion. Are you going to expand?
We are getting there. We're getting there. But for us as South Africa, it will be pleasing that that discussion and that decision gets taken under our chairship. It's important.
You're putting her on the spot today, the giggle.
Yes, she didn't want to divulge in terms of the recommendations to heads of state and government. I think she wants the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, who is the host and who is also the chair of BRICS, to make that announcement with other leaders next month.
And let's talk about, something else. I mean, China being represented by Wang Yi, and of course, he's the outgoing director of foreign policy. Breaking news this afternoon, as we've just read, that he's now, of course, been appointed into a completely different position. But of course, this, his message on behalf of China was something that was signaling a clear indication that he's someone who's playing quite an important role. Let's talk about what he had to say.
Well, I've been monitoring the reports around him since last week, when there were reports that the foreign affairs minister is nowhere to be found, or he is completely out of the picture. And when he arrived on the continent, and he started in Kenya, and he moved to Ethiopia, and then of course down here in South Africa. So I have been monitoring his movements, and sometimes to be at the right place at the right time, this is what happened to me. And when I was watching him this morning, it was like I knew that this announcement was going to be made, because I was looking at his confidence, his body language, and what he is saying inside during the comments inside the plenary where they were meeting. And also, one thing that I observed while we were there after the official opening, media, very few people who were there were asked to leave the room. And when I was waiting outside, typical me, I wanted a doorstop, but the language barrier, I saw him going out. He had a phone. He was talking on the phone. And I guess few minutes after then, there was this breaking news that he is the incoming foreign affairs minister. And I was like, when I wanted that doorstop, I was correct. Unfortunately, the language barrier, and indeed, now the reports that he is the foreign affairs minister. But let's take a listen at what he had to say inside plenary. I mean, he was very, very strong on issues that are related to the current geopolitics.
Our world is undergoing turbulence and transformation. Cold War mentality and power politics still linger. Conflicts are intertwined, and risks and challenges keep emerging. Under such a context, our 5 countries have come from afar to gather here to follow the strategic guidance of the 5 leaders and discuss major issues related to our national security and international security. We are here to compare notes, to pull consensus, to discuss solutions, and to make political preparations for the BRICS summit next month. So our meeting, BRICS expansion, will bear on the long-term development of this mechanism. It will help us to make BRICS stronger and improve the representation and impact of BRICS in international affairs.
And his posture is quite telling, as you say, as one is
very
watching
powerful,
him there. Yeah?
Very powerful. You can see that he is one of the most senior officials within the Communist Party of Russia in particular, or of China and in government in particular.
And a look ahead now, because there's, of course, the Russia-Africa summit, and a lot of people are talking about this, and I'm sure even the minister had quite a bit to say when you guys spoke about this.
Yes, indeed. They are leaving tonight, Minister Nchaveng, and also the Minister of International Relations, Dr. Naledi Pandor, and the President and other officials. They will be attending this Russia-Africa summit in St. Petersburg. And I spoke to the minister about this. Let's take a listen at what she had to say about this trip to St. Petersburg.
We look forward also for us as South Africa on the sidelines of that, the African Leaders Peace Initiative. They will also get feedback on the issues they raised previously with President Putin, on the 10 points that they've raised on and what they were considering on what are those things that they will work on.
Well, quite clearly an important one, but our team is there, our correspondent, she is there, she's going to give us information and reports, and you know, we are always at the right place. At the right time.
Definitely. And if there's one thing I know about you, that's exactly what happens, and always on the money. Oh, Sophie, thank you so much for stopping by and just really giving us a sense as we look ahead at this particular summit. A lot of people talking about this, and you can trust the SABC to bring you every single development around this particular story. Of course, we're looking ahead at, what's going to be happening in August, and the SABC has got you covered when it comes to that.